Rick Griffin says 3,000 pumpkins will be on display again this year. Getting the pumpkins ready takes several days and about 1,000 volunteers, and Griffin says he couldn't do it without their help. Many people who visit the house compare it to Christmas morning or when you get your first bike. There's a certain excitement in the air.
Love it.
News 3 at 5 starts right after this.
Right now at 5, an investigation into who sent bombs to multiple public figures is underway.
President Trump is in the Badger State today campaigning for Wisconsin Republicans. We'll have live coverage of the event.
And why Dane County officials want to take a closer look at the finances of one area nonprofit.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. Federal, state, and local investigators are trying to determine tonight who mailed bombs to the homes and offices of several public figures.
A bomb was sent to former CIA director and CNN contributor John Brennan at CNN's New York studio. Police say the package included an envelope containing white powder. A bomb addressed to former President Barack Obama's Washington, D.C. home was discovered at a postal facility overnight, and another was caught before it could reach former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's home in Chappaqua, New York.
We are fine, thanks to the men and women of the Secret Service who intercepted the package addressed to us long before it made its way to our home.
The Florida office of former DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz also received 2 devices at her district offices in Florida. The White House is condemning the incident, saying those responsible will be brought to justice. The FBI is testing the devices, which consisted of pipes, wires, and black powder.
We are expecting we may hear more about what the president and Wisconsin GOP candidates have to say about those incidents in a rally starting shortly up in central Wisconsin.
And that is where we find political reporter Jessica Arp. She's live in a hangar at the central Wisconsin airport near Mosinee. Jess?
Well, yeah, things are just getting started here. Have been talking to some folks here. Those incidents that you just talked about, definitely on their minds right now. They are just getting started with this event right now. Congressman Sean Duffy speaking to this crowd and already launching directly into differences and attacks, differences between Republicans and Democrats. This rally all about trying to rally Republican support here in Wisconsin. The hangar here at the central Wisconsin airport filling up this afternoon and this evening. Folks here waiting to see President Trump, as well as Governor Scott Walker and State Senator Leah Vukmir. We spoke to one woman here from Minocqua who calls herself an independent, but she says she's here to show she's voting Republican this year.
And I approve of our president and what he's doing. Maybe not some of the things he says, his personality, but I certainly approve of what he's doing. He's doing exactly what I want him to do.
President Trump here largely for those two top of the ticket candidates. The governor in a race. Polling shows is very tight between he and State Superintendent Tony Evers, but Tammy Baldwin currently holding a double-digit lead over State Senator Leah Vukmir. We expect that both of those Republicans are going to speak here tonight. As we said, at this point, Congressman Sean Duffy, who's also in a race for the 6th congressional district, that's here, right here in central Wisconsin. So when he walked in here earlier, a lot of these folks knew right away who he was, and we were hearing some support from folks here. We will also see, as we said, what kind of discussion the president might have tonight, or any of the other candidates here, about those explosives sent to offices of Democrats across the country today, and whether there are any further calls for unity.
All right, thank you, Jess. We'll see you again soon. Jessica Arp reporting live in Mosinee. Former President Obama will also be in Wisconsin on a campaign stop Friday. President Obama is campaigning for Senator Tammy Baldwin, gubernatorial candidate Tony Evers, and other Democratic candidates. He'll appear at North Division High School on Milwaukee's north side. Also, former Vice President Joe Biden will be visiting Wisconsin as well. Mr. Biden will be on the UW-Madison campus next Tuesday to rally Wisconsin Democrats. You've probably seen political ads talking about health care, one of the top issues on voters' minds.
And with less than 2 weeks now until Election Day, News 3 is taking a closer look tonight at where the candidates for U.S. Senate stand on health care and coverage for pre-existing conditions. Rose Schmidt sat down with U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and her challenger Leah Vukmir, and she's here with what you need to know. Rose?
Eric and Susan, there are an estimated 2.4 million people in Wisconsin with some type of pre-existing medical condition. And that's part of the reason why it's become such a point of contention in the U.S. Senate race. Right now, pre-existing conditions are covered under the federal Affordable Care Act. Republican Leah Vukmir has said she would be the deciding vote to repeal the ACA, while Democrat Tammy Baldwin is a longtime supporter. Baldwin says she remembers a time before that law went into effect and doesn't wish to go back to it. But Vukmir told me if the Affordable Care Act were repealed, a federal law would still be on the books protecting people with pre-existing conditions who are on Medicare, Medicaid, or employer insurance.
Now that our unemployment rate is so low, we'll have even more people on employer insurance. So we'll be able to take care of those that need that extra pre-existing condition coverage, and I'm committed to it.
I would do everything that I possibly could to make sure that people with pre-existing conditions had real options, not sham options, but real options.
When asked if they favor a Medicare for All plan, Baldwin says all smart options have to be kept on the table, while Vukmir says that proposal would lead to a decrease in the quality of care for patients. Recent polling numbers from Marquette Law School show half of the people in Wisconsin want to keep the Affordable Care Act, while 44% want it gone. But more than 3/4 of voters say coverage of pre-existing conditions is very important to them.
Rose Schmidt in studio with us. Rose, thank you. A sunny, crisp fall day across southern Wisconsin. Let's get a look at your first alert weather. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti in the Weather Center. Gary?
Eric, it was a nice day today, and I think the next couple of days will be very similar, with one big exception. We won't have the sunshine that we've had over the last couple of days. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. You can see still plenty of sunshine across the state. We had some cumulus clouds pop up this afternoon, but there are some thicker clouds farther out to the west that are starting to head in our direction. Even a few sprinkles up in northern portions of Minnesota, and a couple of rain showers in eastern Nebraska that are heading toward western Iowa. Low temperatures this morning, rather cold. Here in Madison, we dropped to 27 degrees. Many locations were in the mid to upper 20s. High temperatures so far today, very similar to yesterday, in the lower to middle 50s. Here in Madison so far, 53 the high, and we're at 52 right now, and temperatures a little cooler near Lake Michigan. Temperatures there in the middle 40s. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to be in the lower 30s. The skies turn cloudy. Tomorrow will be a mostly cloudy day, but right now it looks like it'll stay dry with a high temperature of 51. That's your first alert forecast.
Thank you, Gary. The FBI is now offering a reward for information on the location of Jamie Kloss. During a news conference this afternoon, the FBI announced a $25,000 reward for any information on Jamie's disappearance. Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald says they have over 1,500 tips from across the nation. 1,200 of them are closed. Over 2,000 volunteers searched near the home where Jamie's parents were murdered. They did not find any evidence related to the case, but Sheriff Fitzgerald says more evidence was removed from the Kloss home.
Yeah, we had another evidence team go back out to the scene today to make sure we didn't miss anything. As we said, we keep combing over evidence, looking for new things. We had a new team, a new set of eyes come in today and go over that house one more time to make sure nothing was missed. They did remove some items, and those are being processed to see if there's any new items of evidence.
Sheriff Fitzgerald says they have 200 officers working 24 hours a day to help bring Jamie home.
The Dane County Sheriff's Office is searching for a suspect after 8 burglaries and thefts in the town of Dunn overnight. Deputies say this is the suspect in the burglaries. They say a variety of property was stolen from cars and residences, including laptops, cash, wallets, and purses. They say there was no forced entry into the homes. The Sheriff's Office reminding people to lock their homes and vehicles. If you have any information on this suspect, you're asked to call the Dane County tip line, the number 284-6900.
Residents on Madison's west side can hear from Madison's police chief and a Dane County judge tonight about a group of young people that keep reoffending. Police Chief Mike Koval has openly criticized the juvenile justice system, saying it's been failing the community. Officials are focusing on the West District right now because of an increase in crime done by young people, specifically things like car thefts, thefts from vehicles, and burglaries. City leaders say if you're one of those neighbors that is concerned, this is a great opportunity to have a face-to-face conversation with those at the top.
They expect us as leaders to step out, and so that's part of what will happen this evening. I hope that there will be strong dialogue. I expect that. It'll be a robust conversation.
Chief Koval and Dane County District Court Judge Shelley Gaylord will join Alder Barbara Harrington McKinney at the gathering tonight. Police will also have some strategies for you to help prevent these crimes. The meeting starts at 6:30. It runs until 8:30 at Our Redeemer Lutheran Church.
Some Dane County officials want to take a closer look at Journey Mental Health's financial health.
They're proposing an audit of the nonprofit. Our Keely Arthur is here now to explain why. Keely?
That's right. I spoke with Richard Kilmer over at the county on the phone today. He is part of the Health and Human Needs Committee exploring the idea of an audit. He says it's prompted by the closure of 2 Journey Mental Health programs. Here's what Journey Mental Health has to say.
We are often referred to as the safety net for Dane County.
Catching 12,208 individuals last year alone who may have fallen through the cracks otherwise.
If we're not here to provide these services, many of the people we treat are going to end up in jail. They're going to be in local hospitals. They're going to be, in many cases, homeless. What we do is help create stability in their life.
Right now, though, Journey Mental Health is dealing with some instability of their own.
We're having some financial struggles right now.
Because of that, Journey President and CEO Lynn Brady recently cut 2 programs, Kashiba House and Cambodian Temple. Now, Dane County, which provides 60% of the group's funding, wants to figure out where things went wrong and is looking into auditing the center.
Journey isn't afraid to have an audit.
But Lynn says they have their own audit each year, and the problems come from changes to Medicaid funding for mental health and outdated charting and billing processes, which is why Journey recently purchased an electronic health record to get real-time, up-to-date information.
What the financial picture is right at the front door of somebody coming in, instead of later on at the end of the month when you're trying to figure out, you know, what happened to your budget.
Despite that upgrade, the county could still audit Journey. The Health and Human Needs Committee is meeting tomorrow night. If they approve the audit, it will go to the Finance Committee and ultimately to the Dane County Board, who will need to greenlight it. Now, this audit is expected to cost about $60,000.
All right, Keely Arthur reporting. Keely, thank you. A person who purchased a Mega Millions ticket in Mount Horeb is now a millionaire. Officials with the Wisconsin Lottery said the winning ticket was sold at the Quick Trip on Springdale Street in Mount Horeb. The $1 million winning ticket is the second highest prize available in this game, with the winner having to match all 5 white balls but missing just the mega ball number. The $1 million ticket sold in Mount Horeb is one of just 35 sold in the entire country worth $1 million, and at least one jackpot winner was sold down in South Carolina.
A large number of artists and bands fronted by women will be headlining this year's edition of Freak Fest, which takes over State Street Saturday night in Madison. Indie pop band Mr. Wives will headline the Capitol stage at the top of State Street. Tickets are required, $15 at the gate or $10 in advance. That's just one of 3 music stages for the 7 o'clock event. Significant road closures will begin at 5 p.m. and that includes Johnson, Dayton, and Lake Streets, where they intersect with State Street, and Gorham will stay open until 6. There will also be a large police presence to make sure that things stay safe for everyone.
Still to come on News 3 at 5. Next, the president vowing to stop the caravan of roughly 7,000 people from reaching the U.S.
The United States is punishing the Saudis for that they say were involved in the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
And a crushing day on Wall Street. The Dow falls more than 600 points. That now wipes out all of the gains for the entire year for the Dow. The Nasdaq off 329 points. The S&P dropped almost 85. We'll be right back. President Trump is vowing to stop the caravan of around 7,200 people from reaching the U.S.
President Trump has suggested without proof that there are people from the Middle East mixing in with the refugees fleeing violence and poverty in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Elaine Camark is a former Democratic Party member who lectures on public policy at Harvard. She says the president is using the caravan to stir up the base to get out and vote Republican.
There are two big issues. One is immigration and one is health care. And the Democrats are doing very well on health care.
The Democrats don't care what their extremist immigration agenda will do to your neighborhoods, to your hospitals, or to your schools.
The caravan is about 1,000 miles from the U.S. border.
While Turkish and Saudi investigators search for answers in the death of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, the U.S. taking action. Saudi Arabia says Khashoggi, a frequent critic of the Saudi royal family, was killed in a fist fight. Turkey believes a 15-member assassination squad murdered him in the Saudi consulate. The United States revoked the visas for 21 Saudis the U.S. has identified as being involved in that operation.
These penalties will not be the last word on this matter from the United States. We will continue to explore additional measures to hold those responsible accountable.
Still no official word on what the Saudis did with Khashoggi's body.
Let's head outside to the weather patio now. Nice to see the sunshine today, but we might be losing the sun tomorrow. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll see cloudy skies, but not much in the way of rain chances. I think the best chances will stay to our south and west, at least for a couple of days. Maybe by Saturday night, we'll see a little better chance for some showers. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud tracking. You can see some cumulus clouds popping up over mainly southeastern Wisconsin, but the clouds will thin out pretty quickly. You can see no rain falling from those clouds. There's rain really is up in northern Minnesota, a few light showers there. There are a couple of sprinkles in eastern Nebraska that are heading for western Iowa, but the bulk of that rain will stay to the west of us for the next couple of days. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. You can see sunny skies occurring over southwestern Wisconsin. The WISC Skycam getting closer to sunset now just after 6 o'clock. And the live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Plenty of sunshine in downtown Madison. As we look at the almanac for today, high today 53, the low temperature a little chilly at 27 degrees. But right now we're at 52. Skies are partly sunny, winds are out of the south at 9 miles per hour. As we check out what's left of Hurricane Will, it's now down to a tropical depression. Top winds right now about 20 miles per hour, but it is starting to bring more rain into Texas. In fact, you can see on Weather Track the moisture from Willa has now raced northeastward into Texas, where they don't need any more rain. And this weather system, as it follows along the jet stream through the southern part of the United States, will keep the bulk of our rain to our south and to our west. So for the time being, things will stay pretty quiet around our part of the Midwest. Now, right now, there are some clouds out to the west of us through the Dakotas into western Minnesota and western Iowa, but not much in the way of precipitation falling from those clouds. Most of that is back across western Nebraska and southwestern Kansas. There's also a cold front to the north and west up into Montana. That will slowly move eastward and eventually affect us toward the middle part of the weekend. Current temperatures 40s to lower 50s here in our part of the Midwest. Not a lot of really mild air to speak of. Colder weather to the north and to the east over southern Canada, where there's snow on the ground there. As we take a look at future track, you can see how the clouds move in, but the rain showers stay mainly to our south and west over the next couple of days. So we'll stay cloudy. Temperatures will stay about the way they've been the last couple of days, but the bulk of the rain probably won't reach us until sometime, say, Saturday night, as that weather system out west eventually starts to catch up with some of the moisture. And then later in the day on Saturday, we'll start to see some showers develop in Minnesota. Those will reach us Saturday night, and they could even be mixed in with a few flurries of snow, especially north of Madison. But those temperatures right now, for the most part, will drop into the 30s overnight. So our forecast for tonight calls for clear skies this evening, then becoming mostly cloudy late with a low of 33. For tomorrow, look for a high of 51. About the same as today, just the only difference is mostly cloudy skies. You can see the clouds moving in later on tonight on future track, lows in the lower 30s. High temperatures tomorrow, about the same as today with plenty of clouds. Slight chance for a shower tomorrow night and a slight chance of a shower on Friday. You can see just how spotty in nature those are. High temperatures on Friday, about the same as today in the lower 50s. As we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, temperatures a little cooler for the second part of the weekend. Those showers could be mixed with a few flurries north of Madison on Sunday morning. Showers and perhaps even a thunderstorm moves back by Halloween Wednesday, and then cooler weather for the end of next week with showers gradually mixing with snow before ending. As we take a look at first alert traffic, seeing some delays on the Beltline. This is the view from the DOT camera at Fish Hatchery Road, and both east and westbound seeing stop and go traffic at Fish Hatchery Road. Right now, eastbound delays begin around Monona Drive and go back to west of Verona Road. Westbound delays start around Todd Drive and go back at least as far as Park Street. If you're heading eastbound on the Beltline, over a half hour from University Avenue to the interstate, 20 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 18 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 17 minutes out to Sun Prairie on US 151 and East Washington Avenue. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Ahead at 5, the FDA has approved a new drug to treat the flu. We'll tell you how it's different from other flu drugs when we come back. The FDA has approved the first new drug to treat the flu in nearly 20 years.
CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook has more.
The approval of the new antiviral drug called Xofluza comes just as flu season is ramping up. Xofluza is for patients 12 and older who have a typical case of the flu. It's a single-dose drug that's the first in a new class of antivirals. The drug blocks an enzyme in the flu virus, stopping it from replicating. Like other flu drugs such as Tamiflu, it's meant to be taken within the first 48 hours of symptoms. Studies show Xofluza reduced the duration of flu symptoms by more than 1 day compared to placebo and had similar effectiveness as Tamiflu. While antiviral drugs can lessen symptoms and the time a person is sick, government health officials say the best protection is to get vaccinated, ideally before the end of this month. Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
Stay with us. We'll have a final check of your forecast in just a moment.
On tonight's CBS Evening News, we are getting new information here on those intercepted pipe bombs and suspicious packages that went to prominent Democratic leaders. Our teams in New York and Washington have new details on how those devices were assembled. Also, Fran Townsend, former Homeland Security advisor, is going to join us here in studio tonight on the CBS Evening News.
A robber caught on surveillance video looks so much like David Schwimmer. The actor himself felt the need to provide an alibi.
The robbery happened last month in Blackpool. Police posted this image of the suspect, and immediately people noticed it looks just like David Schwimmer, doesn't it?
The one on the right, by the way, that is David Schwimmer.
Yeah, so that's what he did. He posted one, too, to kind of make fun of this because the picture went viral, and he added a comment saying, I can prove it's not me. I was actually in New York City, and here's the proof.
Hadn't seen Ross in a while.
I mean, it is uncanny, isn't it? It looks exactly like him.
Especially when you do it that way, right?
Yeah.
Even in the same chip aisle. There we go. Gary's back. Final check of the forecast.
Yeah, clouds are coming in, but the rain chances, I think, are going to be pretty small. Let's take a look at the rain chances over the next couple of days. And the probability of precipitation, pretty small, generally less than about 20 or 30%. So it'll probably stay dry. If you get a shower, it'll be very light and spotty. The better chances of rain probably will come as we head toward the weekend. So right now, we're looking pretty good. As far as the 7-day forecast, though, temperatures lower 50s through Saturday, a little cooler with the best chances of rain on Sunday, and then some showers and thunderstorms about Halloween, and a little cooler at the end of next week.
All right, Gary, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. The CBS Evening News is next.